More businesses are being started right this minute, post-pandemic, and with a possible economic slowdown looming. There's more than ever before. Don't believe me? According to data from the U.S. Census Bureau, it shows that more than 4 million businesses are started every year. And in just last year, in 2021, 5.4 million businesses were launched here in the U.S. Well, this is great for the economy as a whole. There is one major drawback for an individual entrepreneur looking to build an impactful, insightful company. On an almost daily basis, the bar for standing out and winning is constantly being set higher and higher and higher and higher. Hi, I'm Sue Krautbauer, and I've been an entrepreneur for most of my life in one way or another, from owning a boutique marketing design firm, complete with a passel full of graphic designers and large format digital printing lab, to my current business mentoring gig. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and earned an advanced degree from the Business School of Hard Knocks. My passion is to help 30 to 50 somethings that have aspirations to be their own boss, to open their own business, and to try and help them avoid some of the pitfalls and potholes I've stepped into, scraped off my shoe, and learned from over the past 25 years. Okay, enough about me. Back to the topic at hand. Of course, not all these formed businesses will stick around. Many won't even last past their first year. In fact, research from the U.S. Small Business Administration shows that the average survival rate for a new business is 70% that make it through their first 2 years. Great, right? Well, when we look out just a few short years later, we find that only half of the businesses make it beyond the 5-year mark, and it drops only to 30% that make it past 10 years. Whoa! As a newly minted, aspiring entrepreneur, did you ever stop to think, what in the world are those factoids so dismal for new businesses? Well, I have a theory about that which might answer your question, grasshopper, or at least partially answer it. If I find that many people are enamored with the idea of playing founder, business owner, but when the rubber hits the road, they're not ready for the rigors and the commitment of building a sustainable company. There's one thing that these people don't understand. A business is not worth building unless you're willing to go all in. I've started several businesses in my life and have invested all of my time, all of my network, all of my blood, sweat, and tears in them, and most of my money into each and every one of those business endeavors. Most have done well, but not all of them. Some have failed too. But I wouldn't advise an entrepreneur trying to build a long-term, successful, fulfilling business to pursue any other strategy. And here's why. Building a successful company requires 100% of your time. I am always surprised by how many aspiring entrepreneurs tell me things like, oh, I can't quit my job to build this business until I get some funding. Well, this line of thinking is completely backwards and, frankly, naive. What investor in their right mind is going to take the risk of investing in your company if you, the business owner, won't even take the risk of future earnings to devote your time to it? Realistically, the founders and business owners that tell me this are hundreds of steps away from getting investments. But even then, do they really expect talented people to go out on a limb and join their team full time if they're not willing to do the same thing? Unless you have an amazing track record in entrepreneurship, this is a non-negotiable. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that a business can't be a side hustle. On the contrary, I believe starting a side hustle before fully jumping in full hog to the absolute is really the absolute best way to start a business. When it's just a project and not a business, you aren't too attached to it, and you can look at things more objectively while you continually test the idea with your customers, research the marketplace, and get feedback from advisors and experts. which also allows you to pivot in your go-to-market strategy if you find that's necessary. However, once you put in a couple of committed quarters at least and have gotten the proper validation that your business idea or concept is viable, you need to devote 100% of your time to build the business if you really want to have any lasting chance of long-term success. Kenneth Blanchard, author of The 1 Minute Manager, says this: there's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you only do it when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses and only results. Realistically, if you're looking to build a business that can sustain both you, your family, and your dreams, this commitment means at some point in the near future, you'll need to transition from the side hustle that you fit in around your work, your family, and your other commitments, and devote probably 60 plus hours a week for months and even potentially several years. Building an impactful, successful company requires 100% of your Rolodex. Okay, for your 30 to 40 somethings, a Rolodex is your personal network. You are trying to build something of lasting impact. Then you need to quickly get comfortable with asking friends, family, colleagues for favors. These favors include, but are not limited to, sharing your news, giving you feedback on your product, providing introductions and handoffs, handing over money, either buying your product or investing in your company, and more. As awkward as it might seem, there is really no getting around it. As an early stage entrepreneur, you usually have no tangible product to sell, so all you can sell is your vision or your idea. This is actually very similar to our politicians who are starting a movement, and a movement requires an initial audience to get going. This is also where your enthusiasm, your commitment, and plain old chutzpah come into play as well. If you are all in on your business idea, you'll be like the neighborhood kid that follows you around all over the place, asking over and over again, why, to every answer you give. Persistent. If you are not comfortable asking friends, families, and colleagues for favors related to your business, then I suggest you do something similar. Try to build your company alone, and it's almost impossible, and frankly, downright foolish. Building a successful company might require all of your own money. It does not always require 100% of your money, like numbers 1 and 2 requires 100% in, but it might. This is what I and most entrepreneurs and investors call skin in the game. Joining, investing in, or partnering with a startup entrepreneur is always a question of risk management and the most basic question anyone can ask to mitigate their own risk before working with you is, are you committed? Are you all in? Do you have skin in the game? Most successful entrepreneurs you read about today have invested most of their money into their businesses at the early stage while taking either a very low or the very base legal minimum salary for the first several years. Now, obviously not everyone has the luxury or the savings or the cash flow to do this, but at the very least you should expect to front the initial costs of the business, corporation, legal, business, basic technology, your materials, while also offering a much higher salary to those key first hires to get more than their current pay scale. After all, this first key hires are taking a risk on you as well, and there needs to be some payback for them. So, okay, let's say you have considered all of the 3 points that I talked about, but are still wavering and not quite ready to go all in with your time, your network, or your money. What should you do? At the very least, I recommend that you take a step back, ask yourself a couple of key questions. Am I fully committed to my idea? If you're ready to go all in, but don't believe you have validated your idea, you can usually find the answer by getting feedback on it through a well-constructed business assessment and reviewing the results with someone that has successfully built a business themselves. If you're not 100% sold after that, then it's time to significantly alter or pivot your idea, start over altogether, or make a change. Keep in mind, this is not a bad thing. It's better you learn this sooner than later. Am I ready for the trials, tribulations, and doggone hard work of starting a business? If you believe that you have validated your business idea but are still not ready to go all in, then work backwards and create a plan that will get you to that point. I mean, maybe you have young children or child on the way. Maybe you have family obligations on the horizon. Maybe you need to save up money or start another side hustle in the interim or a part-time job. Or maybe you need to take time cultivating some business relationships that will be crucial for your business to succeed. Whatever your answer is to that question, you'll want to create an actionable business plan to get you there as quickly as possible. I promise you, the longer you wait on jumping into the Biz Builder launch process, the more your chances of getting started and succeeding diminish. One way to mitigate your risk and be confident that your business idea should have a high probability of succeeding is to start with my Assess Your Business questionnaire and workshop. It's designed to help budding entrepreneurs or early stage entrepreneurs, that doesn't roll off your tongue, like you, to assess the probability of success for the business idea that you've got rattling around and percolating in your head. Whether it's just an idea now, or if you've recently launched, it's not just accelerating the way you envisioned it would. This workshop is the perfect business litmus test for aspiring entrepreneurs. If you're interested in discovering what the probability of your business success will be, I encourage you to click the link below to get more info. I'm keeping headcount down on this workshop because most of my clients and prospects and peeps have said, folks feel a smaller group makes a learning richer, right? I have been pushing it off a bit. Just as a heads up, I've had some family emergencies and a death in the family recently, which is kind of sidelined. I know I talked about doing it in November, but I may be pushing it out into December. But stay tuned. If you're on my wait list, you'll hear about it first. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.